is that debate is seen now as gladiatorial fights, where our champion is there and we're not really listening to the other side because we're waiting for our champion to lay the smackdown on the opponent.
There's been this tendency in apologetics to use the language of dialogue as opposed to debate. Do you think that this is necessary and helpful, or does this reflect the fear of having robust, confrontation between ideas?
Mm, that's a good one because I've done both. I've done both dialogues and debates. And when a dialogue is done well, it is debate-like. And when a debate is done well, it's done dialogue-like. So what I mean by that is that you can come so I've done dialogues with people who are from the Muslim background, with atheists and various backgrounds, and we come together on a common theme. So human beings have inherent value, a Christian and an atheist perspective. Now, during the course of a good dialogue, you won't have, look how much we agree. You'll start off with the common ground, the platform upon which you can actually jump off to see whose pool has actual water in it. But you have to start off with a common platform. And the dialogue says, we're not going to have a counterpoint response to each other, because what ends up happening sometimes is the person who wins is often the better debater, even though the evidence isn't necessarily on their side. So a dialogue can be helpful because it comes in a non-adversarial, but also a intellectually testable way. You can test each other's beliefs, especially in the crossfire sections of a good dialogue. So it comes on a common ground and says, how do we affirm each other's desire to have this moral good verified, but we have to justify it from our particular positions. So human beings have inherent value. If an atheist were to say this, he's got to justify how human beings have value without God. So he's saying the same thing as a Christian is saying. He's just saying, I don't believe it for the same reasons you believe it. And the Christian would say, from his perspective or her perspective. A debate, however, would pick a topic and say, you say this happened or didn't happen, or another person says the opposite. And so that's also great because that's the crucible in which a lot of falsehood gets challenged and narratives get challenged. So you need debate as well, but debate can be done respectfully. The problem I think that debate has had now is it's got a bad PR image, is that debate is seen now as gladiatorial fights, where our champion is there and we're not really listening to the other side because we're waiting for our champion to lay the smackdown on the opponent, no matter what side of it we're on. So debate has gotten a bad name because we're no longer engaging in argumentation, we're engaging in quarrel. And we can rescue debate, I think, from quarrelsomeness and put it back to an exchange of ideas in a robust way. Think the microcosm of what I'm talking about. If you've watched the presidential debates, that's exactly, the first one was exactly what everybody else is doing, yelling at each other and interrupting. The second one, the one that just happened, whether or not you think it was the best debate in the history of the world ever isn't the point, is that you noticed a very fundamental difference between the two. The second one wasn't a dialogue, it was a debate, but it was far different than the first one. And I think that's paradigmatic of what we're seeing now, is why debate is considered almost like a useless a gesture, because it's just a gladiatorial battle, as opposed to getting people who are in the middle to say, I want to consider that point of view.